We're standing on the top floor of the Twitch structure. This is a landing base, and this is actually a flying structure, even though right now it is on the ground. We'll start up here at the 7th floor. You'll notice that there's a lot of chairs in here. These are not only to view this nice little screen in the middle here, but these also act as crash couches for the non-essential personnel. And for the player, up here would be a few enemies hanging out, as well as a key fragment, which they will need for a later level. From out here on the balcony, we can see the landing pads and a lot of shipping cargo, as well as the cargo ship there. And we got 3 of these landing pads. Those landing pads are where the player is actually going to be landing themselves. The ship will not be there when they first come in, which will give them an opening to start making their way into the structure. And they will have to navigate through this bit of maze work to find a sneaky way in, because they don't want to let themselves be known too quickly. And until they actually start doing any combat, the Twitch will, for the most part, ignore them. At this stage of the game, the Twitch are pretty neutral. Up here we have the first command chamber. This is where flight operations will take place, as well as communications and pretty much everything that's needed to run the ship as a whole. You'll notice the large screens on the walls. These provide a lot of information, and this area would be populated by a very large number of Twitch, as they have to operate the central console as well as the smaller consoles. The central console here is operations for the landing pads out here, and the smaller consoles will have most of the other operations. There will be a NPC interjection when the team comes up to this area, as this is where they will need to go to delay the timer on the launch. And coming down to the 5th floor, you know, some wide open space here. This is the core chamber, and of course here's our central core. We have monitoring stations for the core up on this catwalk, and down below, and we have some operations areas. These are for the internal ship functions, namely the weapon systems, which are located in just about every chamber but this one. And going back to the chamber up here, this is where the player will actually shut down the system core, which is one of the main objectives of this level. And basically they will fire this down, hopefully while not getting hit by other enemies, because when they start being aggressive, the enemies will start coming in and being aggressive as well. So we'll come down to the next chamber. This is the sleeping chamber, and you'll see all these little pods hanging from the ceiling. These are where the Twitch will sleep, and also where they eat. Up here on the roof is the feeder assembly, and the tubes will have a goo, no better way to describe that one, coming down and collecting into the table here. And we don't have the elevators in because Unreal is not accepting the elevators at the moment. And this is what our elevator currently looks like. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to look more like this. Okay, this is the upper cargo bay. Right here we have the lifting rig for the spider, and she can come up and grab that off the ceiling whenever she needs it. And here is our spider sitting down here. Let's jump on her back. And she is also in the last objective of the game, in that she has to be destroyed to access this little pad underneath her. Actually, a very large pad underneath her, as that is the main elevator and exit from the ship before it launches. And here's the lower half of our elevator, which of course doesn't work. This is the lower cargo bay, and both these cargo bays would be filled with these little boxes, as well as some of these larger shipping cargo we see outside. And again, there's 3 pads out here where they'd be dropped off, and we got a little maze out here that they can play around in, and also collect some necessary items out here. And if they really want to have a little more interesting time, they can actually start their combat out here, as there will be a few roaming Twitch out here, and these will be combat ready Twitch. They won't be passive like some of them are. Gee, I get lost out here. Yeah, let's find our way back. Now, if we look at this at the exterior of the structure here, that cap on top of the structure, when everything starts to light up, which is right after they down the system core, that cap will actually fold down and cover all of these balconies, and basically start preparing the ship to take off. These entryways will also fold down and close off, and these landing pads will fold down right before the ship takes off. Another thing to note, this area will also operate as the Queen's chamber, which is why there's a huge hole in the ceiling, so that she can, because she actually hangs from well, she'll actually hang right in that hole right there, so she can be suspended inside the ship.